Otherwise, I'm just going to be making films about little things, just sort of experimental films, and you know, um, and I, that would be an area that I think I could do pretty well at, and that would be the fine art. Um, I hate to call it experimental film because you know the people that are calling their films experimental films are doing stuff that was done 50, 60, 100 years ago, you know, by some filmmakers. They're not doing anything new, really. They're just recycling old ideas
Mm-hmm.
that are forgotten and sort of plowed under and then resurface. But there was a new resurgence in experimental film in the in the late 60s and in the 70s. And most everything you can imagine to do with film was done during those in those films, and you know they broke the narrative into pieces. They scratched on film. They you know took pictures of people's assholes. I mean, you know, everything that you can imagine being done on film was done, and so we're not experimenting anymore. We're utilizing the tools that have been offered to us by those who did the experiments. So I don't know what to call it. Even avant-garde film is kind of a lousy term because you know leading edge is as though there's some kind of you know reference to a warfare, you know, like some kind of guard, some kind of movement. There's no movement, you know, really in art anymore. It's I kind of I was lucky to sort of see the last real sense of movement in art with the abstract expressionists and there's the film the work that was done in the 60s and 70s where you could really call it a movement. But then when it all became totally corporatized and monetized and turned into a mass art, you know, like the first people that started copying the filmmakers in the 60s and 70s were people who were making TV commercials. You know, you come up with something you know, somebody does a film for a rotoscoping, you know, like Waking Life was a film that was rotoscoped, and he created a look, you know, and a feel in that art, in that film that was completely original. And then the next year, it's in a TV commercial for a bank or something, you know, the same technique. I mean, it's completely, uh, you know, it's gobbled up by the corporate world as soon as it's created. And so, you know, I was fortunate to grow up in a world in which you had independent DJs, you had an independent film movement, you had people who were really outside the box, really doing something that was different, and it was the last really gasp of that. Now, you know, there's just no chance. I mean, yeah, there people do things, but there's really, but to make a living at it, it's kind of laughable that to make a living at filmmaking or to make a living as a musician, it's, you know, um, it's very difficult to do something original and somehow uh, survive, you know, and and I don't know. So it's kind of a depressing situation as far as I'm concerned. You know, in the art world, you know, and I think visual arts uh, in galleries is even in worse shape, you know, than filmmaking because what you see in galleries today, you know, is like watered down, you know, bilge that they compared to what I grew up with, you know, where you could go and you could see a Jackson Pollock that was fresh, you know, you could see you know, installations that were, you know, mind blowing. You could see all this stuff that was fresh and new and exciting in the 60s and 70s, and that's sort of like, it's really not happening anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows where we're going? But if we don't beat off the corporate grip on everything, it's never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
We're never going to go back to the point where we can actually create a school of film, or a school of by school I mean a genre, like abstract expressionism.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the '60s, there were new schools every week. It seemed like pop or op or, what are some of the other ones? But now you never hear about that anymore. You hear of some original guy that's in a magazine and he's cool for a while, and then you forget about him, and then he's gone. And you read about him in Modern Painter magazine, and he's gone. Or he's around. I mean, there's a lot of artists who are really doing some great stuff, but it's kind of a weird situation, and I don't want to be like one of those old fogies that says, "Well, in my day, it used to be a great, now you guys are nothing." It might sound a little bit like that, but I just think it's the corporation and their grip on everything that we do now. They control the media, they control everything, and how can you break through that? Music is the best example of it, because radio is completely controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Completely.
Yeah.
So everything sounds the same, Everything sounds the same. It's all overproduced, and compared. What if people? I don't know if we're going over.
Oh, that's just a battery warning.
Okay.
We're good.
I don't know if we're going over time, but you go into a coffee shop and you sit down and what music are they playing a lot of times? 50-year-old music, because that's music that's original and keeps people going. They love it, and you do hear new stuff, yeah, but 8 times out of 10 you're hearing music that was Jimi Hendrix or
Mm-hmm.
or Bob Dylan or Joan, whatever her name is, and or some soul music, from the '60s.
I see you have records here.
Yeah, I got records. Yeah.
I have a record player, and just the other day, we put on, I couldn't tell you who it was, but it was, the music from the 60s and 70s was just absolutely captivating. And within a couple minutes, I was like, man, they used to really know how to play music, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's really great stuff. But
That's right.
I don't know.
But see, the whole secret of that was that there was a market for it, because individual DJs had a control over what they played, and they would take a group that they really liked and they would push them, and then pretty soon they're all over the place, and then so you still had to market and everything, but the good stuff could get through, and but when the corporation got a hold, and the first sort of tragedy is that they got a hold of rap music, and they turned rap music into some kind of some kind of money making machine, and they had willing musicians who wanted to get in and make money, and so they created this empire, this rap empire that's influenced the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
And but originally it was music about something,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's about booty, basically, booty and money.
Mm-hmm.
There's some rap artists who are doing, trying to
Change that.
yeah, and I mean there's always people who are working to change everything there in every field. So I don't want to generalize that too much, but that's a good example of what happened. And so anyway, but that's enough of my complaining about stuff. You're probably done with your time or whatever now.
I have all the time in the world.
Oh, okay.
So The last thing that I wanted to talk about was the gallery that I put on.
Yeah.
We just had one on the 27th. The next one is April 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Today's the last day of March, so you're the last artist that will be invited to show in April.
Okay, cool.
April 24th, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. I provide free booze and free food. There's live music, and we do a raffle. So I ask all of the artists that are involved if there's something small that they wouldn't mind donating.
Sure.
And then a guest can come in and give $5 or more as a donation, and they get a raffle ticket and give away a bunch of art.
Yeah, sure. I could donate a still from one of the animated things or something like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really all I had. Do you have any last comments, questions, concerns?
No, but I just commend you, Jacob, for doing what you're doing. You sort of have to really bull your way through these days and to create your own niche and your own way of doing things. Because if you don't, they'll eat you up. And so you're doing a good thing with this, promoting art and promoting dialogue with artists. So commend you. It's a great thing. So I look forward to our little show and seeing other things that you're doing over there.
Right on. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Everybody, this is the Art Life Video Blog. I will see you tomorrow or in the next few days.